ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So welcome back to the Sri Bhaktyaloka series on the 6 qualities that assure complete perfection in pure devotional service. Among these 6 qualities, we have been discussing Dhairya. Utsaha we have finished, Nishchay we have finished, and yesterday we started with Dhairya. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions Dhairya as Dheer. Dheer means one who is sober, one who has controlled his 6 senses. And he's connecting this to the first verse of Sri Upadesh Amrit. So yesterday in our discussion, we saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur elaborating quite in depth about Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam. So today we will continue with our discussion on the Krodha Vegam. The Krodha Vegam we will discuss. So we began with this section, what is the definition of Dhairya, quoting of text 1, then urge to speak, what happens, and then we saw this very interesting concept of negative application, neutral application, and positive application. And devotees should practice all the time neutral, and when ordained by devotees for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, only that time we should speak. We are very enthusiastic to speak, but better to be in this position. That is what we discussed about Vacho Vegam, Manasa Vegam, how the urge of the mind, we are always riding on the chariot of the mind. And there is Ashtanga Yoga, but the path of Bhakti Yoga is easy. And why we are not able to control the urge of the mind? Because we don't follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga meticulously. And then we discussed how Patanjali has given in his Ashtanga Yoga process the control of the mind, but the topmost process is Bhakti Yoga. Somehow you have to engage the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. So let us now begin with Krodha Vigam. I hope we have not discussed yesterday Krodha Vigam. I don't think so. We have discussed Krodha Vigam. Okay. Let us begin with Krodha Vigam. Okay. To restrain the urge of anger is compulsory for those who are thirsty for devotional service. I told yesterday that Bhaktivinoda Thakur's every statement is power packed and it requires deep contemplation on every statement. Prabhupada, in his purport to Krodha Vegam, he mentions about utilization of anger. And there the example of Mahaprabhu is given, the example of Arjuna is given, the example of Hanuman is given. How Arjuna and Hanuman utilized anger in the service of the Lord. And how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu utilized anger on persons who blaspheme or criticize Vaishnavas. Now, we have a misunderstanding. It is only the Mahabhagavats like Hanuman, Arjuna, or the Uttam Adhikaris can utilize anger. Sadhakas, if they try to utilize anger in the service of the Lord or anger, in trying to, become to anger at non-devotees who criticize devotees, we will get affected by that anger and, it will disturb our devotional life. Or worst case, it will become tamasic bhakti because anger is in the mode of tamagun. So that can really have repercussions on our spiritual life. But Mahabhagavats or pure devotees like Arjuna, Hanuman, or the Uttamadhikaris, when they also get angry, their consciousness about Krishna is not affected. It's not affected. They still always are able to remember Krishna. But when we become angry, we try to utilize anger, our consciousness gets affected and we are not able to remember Krishna that time. So that's why we should understand Prabhupada is speaking there from a different light, from a different viewpoint he's speaking. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is speaking from a very practical perspective that you have to restrain this urge. It's not that you utilize anger. So that's what the point Bhaktivinoda Thakur is making. Anger arises when a man's lust is unfulfilled. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sangas upajayate sangat sanjayate kama. Kamat krodha vijayate. So that's the point here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning, 2.62 to 63 of the Bhagavad Gita. Kamat krodha vijayate. So when a person manifests anger, you should understand there must be some desire which is not fulfilled, and that's why anger is coming forth. So anger arises when a man's lust is unfulfilled. When one is angry, the result gradually leads one to ruination. So the Uttam Adhikaris or the Mahabhagavats, when they get angry, I mentioned how they are still able to maintain their Krishna consciousness. But sadhakas, if they try to utilize anger, then what will happen? What will happen? Buddhi nashat pranashati. That same verse, the last line comes. So it will lead to ruination. So that's why we should be very, very careful about it. We should be very, very careful about it. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ataeva Shanta. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. So, are we Krishna Bhaktas? My question is, are we Krishna Bhaktas? Anyone would like to answer? Are we Krishna Bhaktas? Because Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataeva Shant, it is being mentioned. Anyone would like to speak, throw some light on this? Are we Krishna Bhaktas? Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, here it is referring to, I think, pure devotees, and there we fall short.
Yes, yes. It is referring to pure devotees. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. They are free from all desires except one desire, that is to please Krishna. That's why they are shant. There is no material desire there. So to attain the state of Nishkam, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam, that is a very exalted state. And only this happens at the stage of Bhava. That is, the whole flow sequence is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur also in his Gita commentary mentions, in the commentary to verse 12.12, he mentions this. I'll not go into that discussion now, but just a point. So we are trying to become devotees of Krishna. We are still not devotees. We are still in the kindergarten school, trying to become devotees. Krishna Bhakta, Krishna, devotee of Krishna means it's a very exalted state. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, you have a question?
Prabhuji, here on slide, the term mentioned, it is lust. Well, it should be lust or desire. How? I'm just confused.
No, lust means desire.
Okay.
Lust means desire. Lust means we have, a very vague understanding. When I look lustily at a woman, then we say it is as lust. Lust means any desire, even to see this world with a desire to enjoy is lust, in the generic sense. That's how we should understand. Okay. Further. So we have to understand, when we become real Krishna Bhakta, when we are at the platform of Nishkam, then only we are peaceful. No insignificant lust can remain in the heart of one who relishes pure devotional service. So this point is again making it clear that one who relishes pure devotional service. That means, if we are at the state of pure devotional service, then there is no lust in the heart. There is no material desire in the heart. Again, this is very exalted state. Therefore, there is no possibility of anger arising in the mind. For such Mahabhagavats, there is no possibility of anger. Those whose devotional service is motivated can conquer anger. So there is sakama bhakti. It is not nishkama, or it is not ahetuki bhakti. Then you cannot conquer anger, it is mentioned. It is not possible to conquer anger by intelligence alone. Just by intelligence, you cannot conquer anger. In a very short time, attachment for sensual enjoyment overcomes the function of the intelligence and gives anger a place in its kingdom. So why we cannot conquer anger by intelligence? Because we might intelligently say, oh, let me not become angry. But the senses are so strong, they overpower the mind, and the mind overpowers the intelligence, and we give vent to anger, and then we are completely under the anger, krodha pishacha. Pishacha means, demon, So we become completely controlled by it, and we are possessed by that mentality. So it's very difficult. It is seen in the song of the Avanti Brahman from the Srimad Bhagavatam that he was able to quickly control anger. So now, from the Bhagavatam 11th canto, Bhaktyaloka Thakur is going to refer to verses on how this Avanti Brahman was able to control anger. And we will all observe, when any of these events happen to us in our life, how we react. We become angry, or even if we don't externally become angry, internally in the mind the anger has come, and we don't show it to others, but sometimes others also can understand, because face is the index of the mind. So this pastime of the Avanti Brahman has to be repeatedly read and practiced in one's life. so that we can become, free from this anger. So this is how this specific pastime is given in the Bhagavatam to show how one should control anger. So let us see these verses. Tam vai pravayasam bhikshum avadhut asajjana društva paryabhavan bhadra avabhi paribhutibhi. O kind Uddhava Bhadra, seeing him indeed, društva tam vai, as old, pravayasam. Vayasam means, age. Pravayasam means old. Dirty beggar, bhikshum avadutam, rowdy persons. Asajjana, the asat people would dishonor. Parya abhavan, parya bhavan, him with many insults. Bahubhi paribhutibhi. So these two rowdy people is to dishonor with many insults. So somebody, when you get insulted, your anger just starts flaring up from the false ego. So how you control and be humble in that state, that's a test for us. Now let us see how they insulted him. Kechit trivenum jagrur ekapatram kamandalam pitham chaikaksha sutat sutram cha kantam chirani kechana pradaya cha punastani darshitani adadur mune. Some of these persons, these asajjana, how they were insulting him, some of them would take away his sannyas rod. Trivenum jagru. Some, the water pot which he was using as a begging ball. Ekapatram kamandalu. So they used to take his sannyas rod, take his kamandalu. Some would take his deer skin seed. Pitam chaika. Some his chanting beads. Aksha sutram cha. Aksha means the Akshamala. Sometimes the chanting beads is called as the Akshamala. Sutram means it is in the form of a, the Akshas are tied with a thread in the form of a necklace or a garland, like sutra. And some would steal his stone ragged clothing. Kantam chirani kechana. Displaying these things before him. Darshiyantani. They would pretend to offer them back. Pradhaya cha. Pradhaya means, they used to show, take. And when he used to try to take, they used to immediately snatch it back and start laughing at him. Would then hide them again. Punastani adadur mune. So this is how they were playing with him. It's a very, very, it's very irritating. In fact, if somebody starts doing like this to us, and when we are in this situation, we know how miserable it is. And we should always remember the Avanti Brahman story. Then, Annam cha vaiksham sampannam punjanasya sarittate mutrayanti cha papishta stivanti asya cha murdhani. When he was sitting on the bank of a river, Sarittate, about to partake punjanasya of the food that he had collected by his begging. Annam cha vaiksham sampannam. To whatever bhiksha he had collected, sampannam means to, have it. Bhunjanas means to take. Bhunje, no, I'm not able. Dadati pratigrannati, guhyam makyati prashyati, bhungte bhojate. Bhungte bhojate means, bhungte means to partake. Some sinful rascals would come and pass urine on it. Mutrayanti cha papishta. And they would dare to spit on his head. Stivanti asya cha murdhani. So you can imagine, somebody passing urine when you're taking your food. How much, what will happen to you? Just imagine. And spitting on your head. I remember, this is many years back, maybe 2010 or 11. I had just read the 11th canto, especially the Avanti Brahman pastime. And I got into a train to go to Belgaum from the Bangalore. And I had a hot water bottle. And I just boarded the train and there were some students. and I kept my bottle on the seat, but somehow the knob of the water bottle was loose and hot water started spilling on the seat. And I also got affected by the hot water. And the students, they became so disturbed that they very heavily blasted me. Hey Pandit, samajhta kya nahi tere ko? Something like that they said, more kahin ka, something like that they said. So immediately in my mind, there was so much anger. I just kept quiet. But sometimes, immediately I reflected, just now I read the Avanti Brahman, how difficult it is to practically face these kind of problems and not to become angry. But you can here imagine, passing urine and spitting on the head. These kind of insults are very, very difficult, to tolerate, and not anger. It is not easy that anger will not manifest. So this is a great test, and we should all, look forward for such test in Krishna consciousness. Shipyanti eka vajanta esha dharma dvaja shatya sheena vitta imam vrittim agrahit swa janojita. They would criticize and insult him. Shipanti eke avajananta. Avajananta means to criticize. Saying what? This man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. Esha dharmadvaji shatya. He's a dharmadvaji. He's a man in the garb of a religion, but he's not a religious. He's a hypocrite. He's a cheater, shatya. He makes a business of religion simply because he has lost all his wealth. Sheena vitta imam vrittim. We know that the Savanti Brahman, had lost by Daiva all his wealth, and then he took up to the renounced order. His family people also renounced him. So they knew his background, that he was once a wealthy person. And that's why they used to criticize, he has taken to the business of religion, because he has lost all his wealth. And his family threw him out. Agrahit swa jana ujjita. They have his own people have thrown him out. Now, how does this Brahmana take all these insults? Evam sabautikam dukkham daivekam dehikam jayat Bhaktavyam atmanodishtam praptam abuddhayata. The Brahmana, evam sa, understood, abuddhayata, that all his suffering, dukkha bhoktavyam, suffering which was coming, he was, experiencing the miseries of this suffering. Bhoktavyam means experiencing it. What happened? Experiencing the suffering from other living beings, Bhautik, Adi Bhautika Klesh. Now, there are these three types of kleshas. Which are the three types of kleshas? And among the three, which is the most difficult to tolerate and why? So, three questions. Which are the three types of kleshas? And among them, which is the most difficult to tolerate and why it is difficult to tolerate? Who will answer? What about others? Whether others are participating also, I would like to know. Geeta Mataji. Like to.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Three...
Yeah, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adi Adhyatmik.
Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik. Adhyatmik means the Adhyatmik, not Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik means miseries inflicted by our own body and mind. Adi Bhautik means miseries inflicted by other living beings. And Adi Daivik means miseries inflicted by higher living beings. So among the three, which is the most difficult to tolerate?
Adhyatmik, maybe, Prabhuji.
No. Okay, what about others? Second question, who will answer? Among the three, which is the difficult to tolerate? Among the three, which is most difficult to tolerate? Nadia Chaitanya Prabhuji, which is the difficult to tolerate? Vasant Rao Prabhuji has said Adi Daivik. No. So only one option remains. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, it's Adi Bhautik.
Adi Bhautik. Why it is Adi Bhautik now? Why it is Adi Bhautik? Who will answer? Why Adi Bhautik Klesh is difficult to tolerate? Why is it difficult to tolerate? Who will answer? Why is it difficult to tolerate? Who will answer? Parsati Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I am just saying my answer. I can be wrong. Adhyatmik is your own mind, and you can control. It's possible to control your mind. Adi Devika is the people who are controlling. The people responsible are in a higher position. They have karma, good karma, superior to yours, and so you are under their control. You cannot control them. But Adi Bhautika is by people who are in your level. It is just because they have chance that they are in a better position, that they are disturbing you. Tomorrow, if you are in a better position, it means you will be thinking like that.
You're somewhat close, but not so precise. You're somewhat very close. Adhyatmik klesha is miseries due to your own body and mind. You're suffering from a disease. What can you do? You can't do anything about it. You have to just tolerate it. You just have to tolerate it. Because it is generated by your own body and mind. So you have to just tolerate it and you can't do anything about it. Whom you can get angry upon? You have to get angry on yourself. Adi Dhaivika, COVID crisis has come. It's not under your control. It's not under your control. You can't do anything about it. Whom you're going to get angry on? There is no one whom you can get angry on. The Devatas, what anger you can manifest on the Devatas? Because these are inflicted by the Devatas, demigods. Like too much rain, too much flood, no rain. These are Adi Daivika kleshas. So you cannot battle with the demigods, and express your anger. But Adi Bhautika kleshas are inflicted by other living beings. And here we feel that I can control them. Why this person is troubling me? I will trouble him back. I can take a revenge. So that is why Adhyatmik and Adi Bhautik, you just are helpless. You just have to tolerate and go through the suffering. But Adi Bhautik suffering, when it comes, you think, no, I can counter this. And you try to counter it. This is the problem. This is our test. When Adhyatmika and Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika come, it's not our test. Sorry, when Adhyatmika and Adi Daivika come, it's not our test. When Adi Bhautika Klesh comes, then it is our test. How much we are able to tolerate that. And we see all these people, this Asad Jana, were criticizing, they were insulting. It was all Adi Bhautika Klesh, which this Avanti Brahman was suffering. And what did he say? This is Bhautikam from other living beings. The mosquito is troubling me. I think I can control it. Why? By killing the mosquito. It will not trouble me. But how many mosquitoes you can keep on killing? And killing mosquitoes will have its own karma. So, Adi Daivik, we think we can control it. We can counter it. We can have some countermeasures. So that's why we try to also have some countermeasures for Adhyatmika Klesha to minimize the suffering. But you cannot get angry on others. You have to get angry on yourself only. So Adi Bhautika is very, very important for us that we tolerate it. So the understood that all is suffering from other living beings, Adi Bhautikam, from the higher forces of nature, Daivikam, Dehikam, Yacha, and from his own body, Atmano, Adhyatma, was unavoidable. So all three are taken into consideration here, but definitely Adi Bhautika is one we need to work on, being allotted to him by providence. Dishtam Prapta Praptam. So it has been given by the Devtas, by providence, Daiva. So that's why I just tolerate it. At Avanti Medicant then spoke the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Etam sastaya paratmanishtam adhyasitam purvatatmair maharshabhi aham tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundangri sevai. I shall cross over aham tarishami, this insurmountable ocean of Nisayan, durantaparam tama, by being firmly fixed. Etam sa astaya, where I'll be firmly fixed? In the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. Mukundangri se vaeva. This was approved by the previous acharyas. Adhyasitam purvater maharshibi, who were fixed in firm devotion to Lord Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Astaya Paratma Nishtam. So this is the famous verse, and Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas also, he recited this verse. Those who take the sannyas order of their life, they recite this verse. This is the mendicant verse. So this is the famous verse from the Avanti Brahman pastime. This Paratma Nishta, being firmly fixed in the lotus feet of Krishna, is sometimes followed by householders like Janaka and sometimes by sannyasis like Sanaka and Sanatana. In both circumstances, the Paratma Nishta is the same. So whether it is the Grahasthas who take, firm Dhrida Vrata to practice devotional service by completely engaging the mind in the lotus feet of Krishna, that is also fine. And for those who are in the renounced order. So there is no discrimination like that. Without this Paratma Nishta, one cannot cross this insurmountable ocean of science. Please mark this point. Until one has this Paratma Nishta, one cannot cross this material ocean of material existence. Service to Lord Mukinda is the only shelter. One will be delivered by accepting that. So the only way is service to Mukunda. We can clearly see from this song of the Avanti Brahman that it is impossible to cross the material ocean by the process of yuga. Because in this verse, it is mentioned, Tamo Mukundangri Iseva Eva. It is only by serving the lotus feet of Mukunda and not by Ashtanga Yoga. So it's very clear from the verse. By unflinching devotion to Krishna, everything is achieved. One who can control the urges of speech, mind, and anger by devotional service is called Dhira. So again, a definition of Dhira, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives. Now let us come to Jiva Vegam. This is the fourth one, Jiva Vegam, the urge of the tongue. It is everyone's duty to subdue the urge of the tongue. Materialistic persons are always busy trying to enjoy the six kind of tastes, the chewing, sucking, and so on. Today I will enjoy spiced rice with non-veg. Today I will endeavor for khitri. Today I will enjoy the finest drinks. Khitri means khichdi, I suppose. In Bengali, it must be there. Khichdi means khichdi. That is what is my speculation. But we can take khichdi also, whatever it is. Hankering like this, the materialist always wonders. Jivvara lalsa iti utidhai. The more the tongue eats, the more its hankering increases. So the more the tongue eats food, the more the desire to eat is there. It's not that we'll become satisfied by eating more and will not desire more. No. There is unlimited fire. Yagya Kunda is burning. And that fire is not only in the stomach, the fire is there in the mind, the desire to eat, although the stomach has little capacity. For those who wander for the pleasure of the tongue, attaining Krishna is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vairagyahan kare jivvara lalasa paramartha yaya arahoy rasera vasha vairagira kritya sada nama sankirtan shakapatra phala mula udara bharan jivvara lalsaye iti utidhai shishnodara parayana krishna hi paye. If a renunciant is eager for his tongue to taste different foods, vairagyahan kare jivvara lalsa, his spiritual life will be destroyed. He will be subservient to the taste of his tongue. Arahoy rasera vash. And he will be lost. Paramartha yaya. His spiritual life will be lost. Vairagyara kritya. Kritya means duty. The duty of a person in the renounced order is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra always. Sada nama sankirtan. He should satisfy his belly with whatever vegetables, leaves, fruits and roots are available. So simple rice, dal, sabzi, chapati and some fruits. This is what is sattvic ahar. This will, help us to maintain our Krishna consciousness. One who is subservient to the tongue and who goes here and there, devoted to the genitals and the belly, cannot attain Krishna. Jivvara lalsaye iti utidhai. Iti utidhai means he is running here and there. Shishna udar parayana. Shishna means, the genitals. Udara means the stomach. So he is devoted to, he is not Narayan Parayan. He is Shishna udar Parayan. Krishna ipaye. He will not attain Krishna. Oh, today, let me take, just from the next to my house, there's a garden, there is some fruit or a vegetable. I'll just cut the vegetable, put it in rice, put haldi, put some salt, boil it and eat. And make the simple food, offer it to Krishna and have prasadam and chant Hare Krishna. Instead of that, oh, let me eat pasta. So with the desire to eat pasta, I'm just giving an example. It's not that you can take it as pasta or any other item. Let me make some very delicious item. So what I do, I go to shop. I'm going iti utidhai. I'm going here and there. I buy the oil. I buy the particular vegetables, the capsicum, the cauliflower, and the broccoli. And then I buy the oil, the olive oil. I buy the pasta, and then I boil it. Then so much procedure is there, so much of time. Why? Because you have a desire to serve the tongue. So you're Shishnodara Parayan. Then you will not attain Krishna. That's the point. Okay. So this is over now. Udara Vegam. The next is Udara Vegam. Yes, there is a question. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhu. I have unmuted you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This verse is referring to only renunciate project. It is mentioned.
Interesting question. Yeah, this verse is especially referring to renunciates, but even it is applicable to grahasthas. The grahasthas also it is applying. The grahasthas should, make very nice preparations for the deities at home and invite Vaishnavas to honor it. and then they can honor. So even grahasthas who are very serious about practicing spiritual life should also try to take simple prasadam. That point will come up now here. Okay. Now, here it begins now. One should fill his belly with whatever is easily available. Mark this point, easily available. By offering Krishna foods in the mode of goodness. Again, this is a very, very important point. In the mode of goodness. Now, we might prepare nice spicy items and offer it to Krishna. And it is Krishna prasadam, but the prasadam also has two effects, one on the soul and other on the body. So the soul will get the benefit of eating Krishna prasadam, but the body, there will be disturbance in the stomach, and there will be disturbance, in the sleep, and then the stomach will be disturbed, and then stomach clearing, and there will be diseases. That's why passionate food is to be avoided. Food should be in the mode of goodness. So we should always try to practice this. Offering food in the mode of goodness is very, very important for sadhakas. Not eating too much spicy, oily foods. Simple sattvic food. Offer it to Krishna. Krishna is satisfied. Krishna doesn't want all your... Krishna is only satisfied even if you offer plain boiled rice also. We know that story, the South Indian Brahmin, the pastime of Sakshi Gopal. He came all the way from Vrindavan. This young Brahman was, going ahead, and Krishna was Sakshi Gopal was following him backside. He was just boiling rice and offering it to the Krishna, and Krishna was satisfied. So mark this point. This is very important, that the food should be more in the mode of goodness. That will help us to chant and keep our body and mind in good health, and we can progress in Krishna consciousness. If palatable prasad is easily available, again the point, then the tongue's greed will gradually be controlled rather than increased. So palatable prasad here especially refers to prasad when during festivals. Wonderful preparations are made, bhoga for the Lord, and in the festival, by having this prasad, we feel that we are satisfied, right? There is no much hankering, So in that sense, our whole Gaudiya Vaishnava festivals, throughout the month, every month there are some or the other appearances day of some avatars, and then there are appearance day of various acharyas where we have festivals, feast. And by having this prasadam, which is easily available, again, we can control the urge of the belly. The urge of the belly is a disturbance. It disturbs, the belly gets disturbed when you too much eat. The requirement of the stomach is to eat for the maintenance of life and mitigation of hunger. So, ayu, sattva, no, I don't recollect. 1 second. Which verse is that? The Bhagavatam, no, not in the Bhagavatam, the Gita. Oh, I have to open the Veda base. The Veda base, it is mentioned. It is in the 17th chapter, if I remember. 17th chapter. Yes, 17.8. Ayu Sattva Balarogya. Ayu means duration of life. Sattva means existence. Bala and Arogya, health. Sukha Priti Vivardhanam. It gives happiness and satisfaction. So foods dear to those in the mode of influence increase duration. So we should eat foods which actually increase our duration of life. It purifies one's existence and gives strength, health and happiness and satisfaction. And they are what? Such sattvic foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome and pleasing to the heart. Rasa snigdha stira ridha. Ahara sattvika priya. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they like this kind of sattvic food. So we should, maintenance of life, ayu. and mitigation of hunger. Some connected points, so that's why I shared that thought. Those who are thirsty for devotional service should maintain their life by moderate eating, not overeating or undereating, moderate eating. Oh, the statement is repeated. Huh? Those who endeavor to overeat are called gluttons. One of the qualities of devotees is mitabuk, eating what is necessary. Mitabuk means eating frugally, or not too much eating. And one who overeats is called as a glutton, if you know that. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, made a very interesting statement. It is there in the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav that eating prasad should not become a gastro anatomical affair. He says the anatomy of the body, there is the gastro is the stomach, so it should not be a gastro anatomical affair, he said. So the gluttons are those who overeat. By eating less, the body remains healthy and does not disturb one's devotion service. So when you overeat, the stomach is disturbed, you cannot chant, you sleep. So all these problems start and your health gets spoiled. And when your health is spoiled, you cannot chant properly. So many people in the world die because of overeating, not by undereating. Those who have no strength to tolerate the urge of the stomach are always greedy to eat. Those who are firmly convinced that nothing can be eaten besides Krishna Prasad are especially able to tolerate the urge of the belly. So here is a very important point for sadhakas who are very serious, that we should make a firm resolve that I will eat only what is Krishna Prasadam. It's not that, oh, Prabhuji, I had gone to the holy city of so and so, and there in the shop I bought these sweets and I have offered to Krishna, please have them. No, that's not Krishna Prasadam. Only the devotees who have cooked for the pleasure of the deities and offered to the deities the honor, that is Krishna Prasad. So if you make this conviction that I'll only take Krishna Prasadam, then you can control the urge of the belly. So if you are not taking Krishna Prasadam and sometimes you are violating this principle, that means you are still under the control of the urge of the belly. Restrictions like fasting on prescribed days are also models of instruction for controlling the urge of the stomach. So on Ekadasi, if we try to fast maybe till afternoon, or maybe have some only liquids or only on water, or maybe just fruits and juices, whatever is convenient for you according to your physical structure. Too much austerity also, where you are not able to actually utilize Ekadasi for remembrance of Krishna, you are not serving that purpose, that's also not good. Extreme austerity is not bad, but what in a balanced way you can do, we should try to do that. Upasta Vegam, the urge of the genitals. This is the last one. The urge of the genital is formidable for persons who are averse to the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Loka Vevaya Visha Madhya Seva Nitya Hi Jantur Nahi Tatra Chodana. What is Srimad Bhagavatam saying? Loke, in this material world, the conditioned soul is always inclined to sex. Vevaya Misha, meat eating. Amisha, Madhya. Madhya means intoxication. Therefore, religious scriptures never actually encourage such activities. Nitya hi jantur, nahi tatra chodana. So, nahi means they don't encourage that activities. So, in every species of life, be it a cat or a dog or any animal or any species, we are engaged in sex, we are engaged in meat eating, and there is a kind of intoxication also. Even animals or ants are eating sugar. It's intoxication for them. That's why even when they eat sugar, they get intoxicated so much that they die also sometimes. So in all species of life, we are engaged in these three activities. Gambling, we cannot. Only in the human form of life, we can do gambling. So apart from the four, these three we are continuously engaged. So that's why when we come to the human form of life, this tendency to have inclination towards sex, meeting, and intoxication is very, very, very strong. Very, very strong. The purport of this statement for the Srimad Bhagavatam is confidential. Those who possess a material body made of flesh and blood are always inclined to associate with women. To minimize this inclination, the marriage ceremony is recommended. So we are in the body of flesh, and the body requires flesh to associate with the flesh in the form of illicit sex or sex. Eating meat is what? It is eating flesh. And engaging in sex is also, two bodies which are made of flesh uniting. So it's just a union of two fleshes. That's it. So that is how conditioned we are. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying it is very confidential, this instruction. So it's a hard reality and we need to accept it sometimes. To minimize this inclination, the marriage ceremony is recommended. This urge for the flesh, to enjoy flesh. To enjoy flesh, there are two things we can do: eat meat or enjoy another body. Both are, one is a little gross and other is a little subtle. Those who wish to get free from the codes of marriage are almost like animals. So within the Vivah, if the union of male and female is not restricted in the Vivah through the Vivah Samskar, and it is unrestricted without the marriage codes, then animals also don't get married and they are having relationship. So there is no difference between humans and animals. So practically Kali Yuga is degrading, and we can see all over the world, the whole institute of marriage is degrading very fast, and the whole concept of living together is coming up, and the whole society is just progressing towards worse than animals in fact. But those who have crossed beyond the rules of this natural inclination by the association of devotees and the strength of their service, and have thus attained attraction to spiritual subjects matters, for them associating with the opposite sex is very insignificant. So those who have crossed this inclination by sadhu sang and by seva, and they have attraction for spiritual subjects, they completely shun this. And that's why Yamunacharya in this famous stotra, he says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padaravindo, nava nava rasya udaman. That verse, famous verse is there. Persons who are filled with attachment for material enjoyment can never tolerate the urge of the genital. Many of them engage in illicit activities. Regarding this propensity, those who thirst for devotional service are divided into two groups. Regarding this propensity for enjoyment, there are two groups in it. Those whose attraction has been purified by the strength of sadhu sangha give up the association of women altogether and continually engage in devotional service. They are the first category. Persons in this group are known as renounced Vaishnavas. Those whose propensity for associating with women has not been destroyed, accept the codes of marriage and remain as householders while engaging in devotional service. And dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Krishna in the Vibhuti Yoga also says that that union, when the marriage institute for progeny, that is dharma. That is, I am that. Krishna is saying that. So, Prabhupada also in the Updeshamrit mentions that the genitals have to be used to produce Krishna conscious children. Otherwise, one should not use his genitals. So very clearly mentions. So those who have purified completely, they completely give up women association. They are the renounced Vaishnavas. And those who are not able to give up the association way, they get married. And in their, grahast life, both the husband and wife engage in devotional service. That is the point. Associating with woman as prescribed in the scripture means to control the urge of the genitals. So urge of the genitals, those have transcended sex inclination. They are the Vaishnava sannyasis. They are attached. They can get married, and then they can perform devotional service. Husband and wife together can perform devotional service. Now, the last theme. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to conclude. To subdue these 6 urges is called Dhairya. One who properly tolerates the above mentioned 6 urges, that is favorable for his devotional service. And when those urges are strong, that is unfavorable for one's devotional service. One who tolerates, they are favorable. When the urges are strong, it is unfavorable. To subdue these 6 urges is called Dhairya. That is the definition of Dhairya. As long as one has a material body, these propensities cannot be totally uprooted. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, it is mentioned. Anyone knows which verse in the Bhagavad Gita this is mentioned? That, as long as one has a material body, these urges will be there. Where in the Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned? Anyone knows which verse? Before I open up the verse, I would like to hear from the devotees. Which verse Bhagavad Gita mentions this point? That as long as the material body is there, the properties cannot be totally uprooted. It cannot be totally uprooted. Yes, Parthasarthi Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, there's a verse where Krishna says, one has to work according to one's conditioning by the laws of material nature.
No,
Is that the verse?
Not that verse. Any others? Prabhupada said, just like a lawyer can quote any case law or he'll quote from his Bible, the Code of Civil Procedure. According to this procedure, this particular law and this case law, I am presenting my case. So Prabhupada said that devotees should thoroughly study the Gita and refer any verse and comment upon it or present a case law. So we should be thorough with the Gita like that. So which verse? Anyone has any idea? So it is, I think, yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it Prabhuji 2.67? Imbriyana Mihichartam Yanmano Anukadite.
No, not that verse. It is in the 4th chapter, Shaknoti eva Shodam Prak Sharir Vimokshanat Kama Krodha Udbhavam Begam. That is the verse. Okay, let me. Prak Sharir Vimokshanat Kama Krodha Udbhavam Begam. It is in the 4th chapter I was thinking. But here I am not able to find. Let me check. Let me. Anyone knows? Shaknoti Shodam Prak Sharir Vimokshana Kama Krodha Udbhavam Begam. Oh, it is in the 5th chapter. 5th chapter, I think it is 23. 5th chapter, 23. Yes. Shaknoti eva yah shodum prak sharir vimokshanat kama krodh udbhavam vegam sayukta sasukhinara. Before giving up his present body, Shaknoti eva yah shodum. Shodum means iha, this present body. Shodum means one who is, shodum means to tolerate. Shaknoti is able to. Prak Sharir Vimokshanat, before giving up this body. If one is able to tolerate the urges of the material and check the forces of desire and anger, he is well situated and happy in this world. So Prabhupada again quotes, the Updeshamrit first verse here. And he says, it is a duty of a transcendentalist to try strenuously to control desire and anger. Try strenuously, he says. So that's the point also he's mentioned that although one is at a very, very exalted state, still, you cannot uproot these propensities completely. That's why you should, tolerate them until you give up this body, till the last moment also. And we know that Akbar Birbal story. Anyone knows the story of Akbar and Birbal about this? Very interesting story of Akbar and Birbal about this. Even at the last point of death, what is the state and consciousness of a person? Anyone knows this story? Anyone has any idea about this story? Yes, Parswati Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I have correction that Prabhuji, I have heard that there was an argument between Akbar and Birbal that Akbar was saying that at the time of death, a person will not have any other thoughts. He will not be subdued by lust. And then Birbal told, no, a person at the time of death also, he can be subdued by lust. So there was an argument, and they went to a place where a person was about to die, and they brought a young lady, and that old person, that old man, he was looking at that young lady.
Yeah, actually, yes, this is the right story. Akbar came along with his daughter, they say sometimes, whatever it is, his beautiful daughter, and this old man was looking at his beautiful daughter. So even at the time of leaving this body, one can be, completely come under the urges of, the mind, or the urge of the desire to enjoy. So that's why it cannot be totally uprooted. That's why one should be very, very careful. But by properly engaging them in their appropriate subjects, they can no longer remain followed. So lust has to be engaged in appropriate subject. Anger has to be engaged. Greed has to be engaged, like that. Illusion has to be engaged, like that. So that is mentioned by Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur says, therefore Narottam Das Thakur has written in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika as follows. Kama Krodha Lobha Moha Mada Matsarya Damba Saha Sthane Sthane Niyukta Kariba Ananda Kari Hridaya Ripu Kari Parajaya Anayasa Govinda Bhajiba Kama Krishna Kamarmarpane Krodha Bhakti Dveshi Jane Lobha Sadhu Sangha Harikata Moha Ishta Labha Vina Mada Krishna Gunagane Niyukta Karibe Yathatata. So how he engages these in appropriate subjects, very nicely it has been mentioned. I will engage lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy, and pride in appropriate ways by defeating these enemies. I will feel happiness in my heart as I peacefully worship Govinda. I will engage lust by offering it in Krishna service. So I am lusty to eat, fruits. I'm just giving an example. So this propensity I will give by giving enjoyment to Krishna, by offering it to Krishna. That's how I engage lust. Anger I will direct towards those who are envious of the devotees. I will be greedy to hear topics of Hari in the association of devotees. So we should have greed, laulyam, for hearing Krishna Katha. I will feel illusion without achieving my worshipable Lord. So when I'm out in the material world, oh, this world is a Maya, and I'm trying to remember, oh, where is my Ishtadev? Where is my Ishtadev? So in Moha, I'm lamenting that where is my Ishtadev? So that is how I engage, illusion. I will be maddened, mother. Pride is mother, while singing the glories of the Lord. In this way, I will engage these enemies in their proper places. So there is no way you can engage envy. Envy, there is no solution. You'll have to uproot it. But uh, when lust is unfulfilled, anger manifests, and there is manifestation of greed because of illusion, and because there is pride, it shows that there is envy. So if you uproot pride, then envy also will be automatically taken care. So in that sense, also we can see it like that. At the same time, envy, has to be worked out internally for us. There is no way envy can be engaged in the service of the Lord. The confidential meaning of this song is that the duty of an intelligent person is to direct these urges away from their respective subjects and make them favorable to devotional service. So these urges are to other subjects and make the subject Krishna, and then they will be favorable for our devotional service. That can only be done with patience, Dhairya. Dhairya, it can be done. Now, Dhira means to control the sex urges. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives another explanation of Dhira. Dhira means also patience. There is another meaning applicable to the word Dhairya. Those who engage in sadhana desire to attain the results. Karmis hope to attain heavenly happiness by fruity activities. Jnanis hope to attain liberation by speculative knowledge. And devotees hope to please Krishna by their devotion. Being impatient due to prolonged sadhana. Please remember, many years you're practicing sadhana and you might become impatient. I'm not experiencing the mercy of Krishna. Some people fall from the path of the ultimate goal. Therefore, a practicing devotee who desires to achieve his goal attains that result only when he becomes patient. Krishna must be merciful to me either today or after 100 years or in some other birth. This should be our hankering. I will take shelter of his lotus feet with determination and never leave. This type of Dhairya patience is most desirable for the practitioners of devotional service. And this pastime is there, in the Chaitanya Leela. Mukunda was told, everyone told that, Mahaprabhu, you are giving mercy to everyone. Please shower mercy to Mukunda. Mahaprabhu said, I don't want to see his face. Sometimes, being a Vaishnava, he associates with Mayavadis. I don't want to see his face. Mukunda wanted to come inside. He said, no, I don't want to give him darshan. I'll not show him mercy. For the next 1,000,000 lifetimes, he said. And when this message was conveyed to Mukunda, Mukunda started jumping high in the sky. Oh, the Lord is going to show me mercy after 1,000,000 lives. I'm so fortunate. I'm so fortunate. Seeing that enthusiasm, Mahaprabhu called him inside, come. And he got mercy. So, we are practicing sadhana for many, many years, and we might not experience that mercy of Krishna over a long time. And we might become disheartened. So, how we should, what should be our contemplation? This should be our contemplation. Krishna must be merciful to me either today or after 100 years or in some birth. I will take shelter of his lotus feet with determination and never leave. This is what we need to do from our side. Krishna bestowing his mercy is his ahetu kripa. He is Swarat, he is independent. Whenever he desires, he'll do that. That is not in our hands. What is in our hands is this. And we should continue to do this. Okay, so that ends the discussion on Dhairya. Any questions, any clarification anyone has? It was quite a simple essay and the points were very, very interesting and deep. And one has to read, reflect and try to practice and apply it in one's life. Anyone has any thoughts or any clarifications about what we discussed up till now? Okay, then I will stop here and we will in the next week do Tat Tat Karma Pravartana. that will take 2 classes. Sangha Tyaga is going to take 2 classes. And Shatovritti is going to take 3 classes. So we are speaking about now 7 classes spread over 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. Practically, it's another 1 month. So, yeah, 7 classes. No, not 1 month. Sorry. 7 classes will be 2, 4, 6, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks and another 1 Saturday. So by the time we will be able to finish Bhaktyaloka. Okay. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai.